Hi Geminis, how are you? Welcome to your February 2019 Life and Love reading. This is Shooting Stars Tarot. Thank you for your likes and your shares and your subscribes. And Happy New Year. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping. If you would like a private reading, in the description box below, just click on that link. It will bring you to my booking site. And then secondly, if you want when this reading's over, if you want to purchase the extended portion of this reading, that link is also below and it's easy to do. So let's go ahead and get started, Geminis. There's a major transit happening this month. Right in the middle of the month, Chiron is going back into Aries. It's been retrograde in Pisces. It's going back into Aries where it will remain for the next 8 to 9 years. And that is actually occurring in your 11th house. So when we put Chiron in Aries, the wounded healer, in a sign of action and war and fighting and moving forward into your 11th house, that means there's going to be a lot going on within your community, with your home life, your friends, your networking groups. And it's interesting because when it was retrograde in Pisces, that was in your 10th house. So there may have been a lot of emotional stuff relating to your work that kind of resurfaced. And now you're going to be pulling out of that and really kind of grasping your people. You're going to be grasping your people, your neighborhood, people that you work with. They're going to be probably influential to you in your career. And I'm specifically saying career because I think the emotional stuff was revolving around work things. All right. And then another interesting transit is that Venus is going into Capricorn in your 8th house, which is other people, right? Death, taxes, sex, other people's money. And so there could be some interesting things occurring that typically could be very emotional. However, with Venus in Capricorn, I think you'll remain very pragmatic and very practical and grounded with respect to those things as they arise. There's some other interesting transits, but I'm not going to talk too much about them for you because I really think the big one is the Chiron transit. So let's get started, Geminis. All right. Spirit and Universe. What are the messages for Geminis this February? Geminis in February for Life and Love 2019. What are the messages for Geminis this February? All right. If you hear snoring, that's my pug, Maddie. She loves to help with the tarot readings. Oh, I keep doing that. I always do this spread. And I'm doing the Celtic Cross, which I haven't done for a while. So put these down. I did the same thing for Taurus. People. Okay, so that stays the same. Sorry about that. So bottom of the deck, Geminis, is the High Priestess reversed. This is kind of interesting where, of course, I didn't talk about this transit, which now I'm going to. So there's an interesting transit taking on the 10th of February, taking place on the 10th, and it is Mercury moving into Pisces in your 10th house. So when we talk about this Chiron transit, right, and then Mercury going into a place that was probably pretty emotional for you in that same house, right? It's like Chiron left and now Mercury's coming in. And so what I think this is going to be is probably pretty healing for you with respect to these emotional things that you've been dealing with or that have been resurfacing in the workplace. With Mercury there, it's actually going to give you, and Venus in Capricorn, and Capricorn's natural placement is the 10th house. So it's going to be emotional communication, but you're going to be able to remain grounded and not get emotional about the communication. Does that make sense? So I don't know if it's necessarily a lot of healing, but it's like you're moving past it, and part of moving past it is being able to have confrontations and have communications about whatever it was, and you're going to be able to remain grounded within those communications. So that's really good. And part of that, the reason why I'm talking about that, Geminis, is because with the High Priestess here, this could also be conflict in the neighborhood, but the 10th house is primarily work life, but you're kind of bouncing between the 10th and 11th house. So your work might be by your home. You may be working with somebody that lives in your neighborhood, or having communications about work with your neighbors, kind of things like that. Friends, family, little like networks. Okay, so the reason why I went into all of that, Geminis, is because the High Priestess is reversed. So part of all of this earth energy that is allowing you to remain so firmly grounded in these emotional times is the fact that I think you're choosing to block these secrets, because the High Priestess is the keeper of secrets. She's very extremely intelligent. She knows when to relay information and when to keep information safe and secure. And she also has a very keen intuition, and so she taps into energies, but she knows she doesn't have to share and overshare those things. So it becomes either you're saying too much, but I don't think you are, okay, because of these earth placements, but that could be the case, or you're just choosing to not get emotional about it. Like all of this stuff is coming out, but you're not getting emotional about it. And we can also see that here with the Knight of Pentacles. This, again, this has to do with practical action, practical movement. Well-grounded, slow-moving, steady growth, steady progress. And I think that there's something happening in the neighborhood or workplace that's causing this. Again, Page of Cups. No emotional communication. All right? No rational or irrational quick movements. Okay? Putting down your head and focusing on work. Focusing on the task at hand. Being practical, practical, practical. And it's interesting, Geminis, that I say that because you are very information and thought-provoking focused. You're extremely good with words and ideas and communication in general. And you actually tend to not get overly emotional unless someone else is acting a fool. And so this is kind of a good space for you to be in. And so I only caution to be careful that you're not oversharing. I don't think that's the case, but it could be for a small number of you. And I say that because in the recent past, which really could be now, mid-January-ish, we have the Two of Pentacles. So this is a decision. And it's a decision that is based on, you see these waves back here? Very emotional type of topic. So you're actually standing in front of the water that's behind you. So again, this stuff is in the past. This emotional things are in the past. You're standing in front of the water, but it's still very present in the picture, right? In your realm. But you're trying to stand on the beach and get a firm footing on something. And that's what this juggling is. You're trying to decide, do I be practical? Do I be emotional? Do I be practical? Do I be emotional? And it's like this wavy, like, I don't know, kind of like trying to balance things out like a Libra does, right? And so there may be a little bit of out of touch energy with what to do, but I think you're going to be very patient before and really think through things before acting, and certainly before speaking. So a really good energy going into February. I like it. Again, here you are, Ace of Swords. This has to do with clarity, cutting to the chase, getting to the point. There's an essence of extremes here when the swords have two sides that can cut very sharply and cut deep. So when we talk about the love realm, it's like extreme love, extreme hate, extreme communications, extreme thoughts, extreme beginnings, extreme endings. This is a card of getting extreme clarity. And I'm going to talk about what's crossing it in a minute, but grounding this, kind of like the High Priestess grounding this whole entire reading. The base of this whole reading is the Ace of Wands reversed. So there is something that has either completely lost the passion, or you're choosing not to be passionate. It's very interesting that these two are pretty opposite. Okay, but when we're talking about the elements, we have earth and fire, wands and swords, and then we have on the ground water and earth. So you're kind of in the same realm with these two cards, but they're opposing each other. Ideas and passion, acting logically, acting passionately. And you're choosing to act logically, you're choosing to think analytically about something either before acting or instead of acting. So very interesting. Now, when I talk about lack of acting or slow movement or not communicating, it is also shown here with the Four of Pentacles. You actually really might be working to save money too. Something could have happened, or a change in job or change in income that has forced you to be logical and analytical, forced you to feel a little wobbly, but ultimately forced you or caused you to close down a little bit and either become a very strong penny pincher in saving money, or to just kind of retreat in general into your own world while you figure these things out. This is a card of being closed off and secretive with what you have. Okay, so like for example, it's like let's say for example you're getting married and you're drawing up prenups, and there's certain items on there that you may feel need to be hidden in a certain way, right? Or there's assets there that you don't want to disclose, but obviously you need to, and ultimately you will, but it's like you're kind of trying to figure out, based on maybe something that happened in the past, like how do I do this? How do I keep this and myself safe and secure should something happen? All right. And because we have the High Priestess here, if you fall into the group where too much is going to be shared, you know, if that's kind of the scenario, like a prenup scenario or something, like you're going to share it. You have to. And you might be a little, it's kind of cutting too close to home with the emotions and the truth of what it is. Okay. Like disclosing debt or trying to get out of debt, so, or something because it's impacting something in your life. All right. Now, if you're in a long-term relationship and things are going really well, I'm trying to, you know, liken this to something. It's kind of why I brought up the prenup. But if that's already taken place and you're in a secure relationship, you could be very, very, very focused on saving money and not really communicating about it. It's like you're kind of shutting down and focusing on that, and you know, hoping or having faith that it could turn the passion around once you get your sacral chakra settled, all right, in your root chakra. Kind of depicted here, right, when we talk about money. For women especially, in order for that receiving energy from a masculine energy, it is important that your root and your sacral chakras are stabilized at all time. And specifically, like if you're having money issues, it becomes very hard to receive the love energy from a masculine counterpart. You have to have those two sacrals. It doesn't mean you have to have a lot, but they have to be, those houses have to be in order. And then it becomes very easy for that receiving to take place. All right, root and sacral chakra, very important. And Astro Lotta does a very interesting video on the masculine and feminine energy, and she spent a lot of time talking about this, and it's pretty interesting if you want to delve into that realm. It's pretty interesting. Okay, so crowning your reading, the Page of Pentacles. Again, you have a lot of pentacles, so this could be very, very much slow-moving energy, financial energy, and we talked about these transits being heavily focused on the work arena. So again, this has to do, pages always have to do with communication. So you are wanting to slowly communicate, slowly act, remove any emotion and passion from whatever this is. Okay, let me look at the rest of this, Geminis. Now, we'll clarify all of these and go into a lot more detail in the extended, but we'll go through these as they are now. In your future, we have the Three of Wands reversed. And the Three of Wands is a card, represents waiting for something to happen. It requires patience, because when you've done everything you can do, depicted by all these actions you're taking with you, okay, you've done everything you can do. Now it's time for kind of karma to step in, or the universe to step in, or things are definitely working out in your favor slowly. Okay, they always say your ships are coming in. So yes, but when this card is reversed, it very clearly is interpreted as you haven't done enough. There's more for you to do. So if we are talking about work or finances, there's more for you to do. If we're talking about communicating about something that was emotional, but trying not to be emotional with the communication, that is going to take some work for you. Okay, this is in your future, so there's definitely more steps for you. It does involve a decision. Seven of Wands has to do with letting somebody in. This is a card of having your barriers up when it's reversed. Okay, keeping people out, keeping things out, staying in your safe zone. But when this is reversed, you've got to let some barriers down. And it's part of this action is the decision to do so. But I think here you're stuck thinking, well, I have to get this in order first, or I have to get my money in order, or we have to fix the passion before I can do this, or I need clearer communication from you before I can make this decision. Okay, those are the types of thoughts that you're having about this. Three of Swords. This is how you view the situation. So you're aware. Okay, I've got to open up. I've got to let this person in. I've got to let these people in. I need to, bring people into my life. So you're very aware of this. How other people see you in the situation is the Three of Swords reversed. So they either view you as someone that is very trustworthy, right? Or coming back around after not being trustworthy. Because this can mean a heartbreak or a third-party relationship. And then either getting back together, or there is truth revealed that there was never a third-party relationship, even though it was suspected of you. So this could be you realizing, well, maybe they thought that because I was closed off. Maybe I need to open up so they can really trust in me. And in the meantime, maybe I need to take care of some finances. So I'm going to be really practical and slow about this approach, but ultimately I've got to take care of this and open up. And Geminis, you're actually usually very open, and so whatever this Chiron transit over the last few months back into Pisces brought out in you, or brought towards you, or resurfaced in you, it caused a little bit of a shutdown on some levels. Caused a little bit of a shutdown. And while there's nothing wrong with that, I think you're aware that some steps need to be taken to open back up to the people that are the most important to you. And your hopes and fears, the Justice reverse means that you're really afraid that this is not going to work out in your favor. You're afraid that person's going to leave. You're afraid that they're going to judge you. You're afraid that they're going to negatively judge you, and that you're not really going to have any control over the situation. And that's where this comes in, this Three of Wands. There's more you can do here to switch their view of you. While this is a very good view, if it stemmed from them thinking you were cheating, or if it stemmed from this whole conversation about someone else in the picture, you can rectify that by opening up a little bit, slowly getting this situated and letting somebody in. I know I keep repeating that, but that's kind of that's what the message is saying. The outcome is the Hierophant reversed, and the Hierophant reversed is either the need to seek guidance and counseling or, you know, some sort of spiritual healing, or going to a religious person for advice. Sorry about my pug, she's snoring. And, or, so the need to do that, it also could mean that there's a marriage that, or a secure relationship that was supposed to lead to marriage that is no longer doing so. All right. Interesting. We will definitely focus on that in the extended. Madison. Okay. Oh, I did not take the Hierophant. Well, I didn't take the High Priestess out. We'll remember that because we're going to pull a clarifier on it. No, that's going to bug me. Hold on. Let me just find it pretty quick. So leave your comments below while I'm doing this. Leave your comments below, Geminis, on what this means for you, because I'm actually really curious about the Chiron transit and the emotional work stuff and the emotional neighborhood stuff. I'm really curious about that. And remember that this is going to be there for the next 8 to 9 years, so it is going to be, it's called a generational transit. All right, Spirit and Universe, what are the outcome messages for Geminis in February 2019? Outcome messages for Geminis. What are the outcome messages, advice, and guidance for Geminis? One more. Outcome messages for Geminis. Lots of 1s and 2s for you this month. Bottom of the deck, 6 of Swords. This is requiring you to step away from the situation. And when we talk about this 4 of Pentacles, okay, 2 of Pentacles, that is to become grounded again and sort out your thoughts and clear your mind. But you have to step away from all this emotional stuff. And ultimately, that's exactly what Chiron and Aries is doing. It's pulling you from the emotions and pushing you forward, giving you the ability to take action. But before that takes place, again, we're about a month away from that transit. So you're kind of prepping right now, like, hey, I've got to figure this stuff out. I have to settle my mind. This is too emotional for me right now. I've got to step away, go on a trip, go to an island, go spend some alone time and get this stuff sorted out. All right? Bottom of the deck. Because there's a definite lack of reciprocity. If this is a love reading for you, this has to do with one person giving and taking more than the other person, right? There's not an equal balance there. Madison. And we have the 2 of Wands here, which indicates kind of realizing that you're not as happy as you could be. So through this process, you're analyzing all the things that brought you here. Because one wand represents the past, and one wand represents the future, and the world is kind of like, I mean, one wand represents the present, holding on to it, and then the world that he's holding represents the world. Okay, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? What's my purpose here? And there's kind of this modeling energy, lonely, stoic energy here, where this person is analyzing, okay, where have I been? Where do I want to go? And why am I here now? And how do I get to where I want to be? Okay, this is a decision point. And it's so perfect with this Chiron transit for you, Geminis. I love it, love it, love it. Now with the Devil here, these are unhealthy connections with people, with sex, drugs, right? This can be a card of addiction. And I'm just looking closely at this, see if there's anything else I can glean from it. The Devil always gets us caught in entanglements that we kind of like. And so it's very easy to choose to stay in these spaces. I don't know why. I hit my hand there. We always choose to stay in these spaces, and we don't have to stay. It's very easy for us to release these shackles or these bonds that keep us here, but it kind of feels good, so we leave it, but probably usually a little too long, or we stay there indefinitely. So This is a call to make a decision, okay? And with the Magician reversed here, there is definitely something unhealthy going on here. There is definitely some sort of manipulation on some front that is either lessening your ability to see your current state and choose how to move forward, like a mental fog. And that's why stepping away is going to be so important. This stepping away, this little, mental trip, you might need to take it for longer than you think. Like you may actually need 5, 6, 7 days, 2 weeks alone with your thoughts to really sort this out. Because this Magician reversed, and we're going to spend a lot of time actually clarifying in the extended. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about these energies, because if this is what's impacting you, if this is what's causing the passion to deflate, if this is what's causing blame, right, that is shifting in your favor, but if it's causing you to be closed off and feel like you're the only one that needs to be opened up, there could be a problem there. And I originally didn't discuss this as a problem. This is actually good. But if this is kind of what's tying you down, or what caused this closing off initially, right, where you feel you're the only one that has to take action, that's a problem. And I'm saying that too with you're afraid that justice is not going to work out in your favor. Your outcome is that there's no stable traditional thing that you originally wanted coming out of this. So if that's the case, and you're sensing that that's the case, right, but trying not to believe it, this is a problem. Could easily be caused by this. So we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that in the extended. If you want that, the link's below. Private reading link below if you want to just stay tuned. But also watch your annual reading. I just posted those up also for all of 2019. I go through quarter by quarter, and they're wonderful. And so stay tuned for the next set of readings. I'll probably be doing an X spread. And I love you, Geminis, and I will talk to you later. All right? Bye. Why does this do that? I'm not a fan. Not a fan, Madison.